a vodcast series featuring next-level racing ambassadors and content creators. Join us every month as we interview the faces that shape our industry and inspire our community. Buckle up as we take off to the virtual skies with the Virtual Roulettes, a dedicated Australian formation flying team. The Virtual Roulettes pride themselves on their creativity and technical skill, replicating real-life aerial acrobatics. Welcome, Beardy, and thanks for joining Batter and I today.
G'day guys, how are we?
Good, how are
Doing
you?
well, mate.
Yeah,
How are you?
good. Happy Mustfuss 2024 day.
Yes.
Time stamping this bad boy. Of course, we're filming this around the launch of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which is why we've decided this month we would like to interview someone from our flight sim community, because we're kind of excited to learn a little bit more about that. I personally am not a massive flight simulator user. I'm really excited to learn a lot. Yeah. Perhaps you and Batter can team up and wrestle me into a rig by the end of this.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Challenge accepted, buddy.
Absolutely. With all your gear that you've got in there, it won't be hard.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if I'm ever going to do it, it's going to be now while I'm working at Next Level Racing, isn't it? Let's kick things off with our first question today. What made you fall in love with flight?
Oh, gather around, children. This is going to be an old tale.
a deep one right off the bat.
Yeah, a deep one. So I'm what's called a RAF brat. I come from an Air Force family. My father joined the Air Force back in 1980 when I was about 4 years old. Doxing myself or doxing my age there a little bit. That's okay. So Dad joined the Air Force and we spent 10 years being posted all over Australia. We did a 2-year stint over in Malaysia out of the Butterworth Air Base over there and got exposed to everything that was the Air Force, got to live in Air Force communities while we were overseas and back in Australia at the bases and around the base. Obviously, we sort of live in Air Force communities and that sort of thing. So you get to meet pilots, you get to meet technicians, you get to meet gunners, you get to meet all sorts of interesting people. So it's sort of like it is at that military upbringing, I guess, and just fell in love with all the adventure and stuff that these guys get up to. Which was really, really cool. When we came back from Malaysia, it was 1988, I believe. They had the Air Force's bicentennial 200th year air show at Richmond, where we were living. So that was my first time ever seeing the real Roulettes when they were flying the Air Mackies back in the day. And yeah, they dazzled the hell out of me for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Did you ever get to sit in a cockpit of a military aircraft?
I got to jump out of a Caribou. So living as an expat kid in Scouts over in Malaysia, they threw us out the back of a Caribou at one stage. Got to sit in the cockpit of a Caribou. Oh, I adore the Caribou. I really do. Great in Mustfuss too. Just saying. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to fly. Great for wheelbarrowing into airports and stuff like that. So yeah, like the Caribou, and recently got a nice chance to have a little bit of a play in the PC-21 flight simulator that the Air Force have down in East Sale, which is about as close to a real PC-21 as I'm ever going to get. So I take that one.
That's a win.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah, I was giddy for days afterwards. That's for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Speaking of aircraft, what is your favorite aircraft and why?
Oh, it'd be remiss of me if I didn't say the Pilatus PC-21 that we fly.
I know.
And the Roulettes
Of course, he was going to say that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, look, in terms of what we do as the virtual Roulettes, definitely the PC-21. Yep. And also representing the Air Force's sort of primary jet pathway trainer. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's about the closest thing you're going to get to a jet. But anybody could walk off the street, do their first flight in one of these things and pick it up pretty quickly, pretty easily. Obviously all the avionics and stuff, even you. To be honest, having flown in Mustfuss and DCS with the PC-21 and then jumping into the simulator, which is as close as it's going to be, it's a one-to-one reproduction of the cockpit, all the controls, all the avionics, etc. We started it up, we taxied out, we took off, we did a couple of barrel rolls and loops, did a couple of circuit patterns,
Barrels.
and landed safely. And yeah, it was creepy how easy it was, to be honest with you.
I won't lie, my experience with flight simulators is Star Fox 64. So
Hey, everyone's got to start somewhere. You've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
the amount of times Paul Batter gets asked to do a barrel roll on one of his live streams.
Yeah, for sure.
Attempting it in a 172 is not the smartest thing I've ever done.
Do a barrel roll.
No,
Do a barrel roll.
you have to do
Literally
a
my
big,
favorite thing.
big dive there to get that thing up
Yeah,
to do anything other than flight level, straight level flight.
Yeah, every time I get one of those requests, I'll have to climb like 4,000 feet.
Yeah,
just
I
to
hear.
make up for that loss.
Yes, I did see your live stream the other day. I'm not going to dob you in too much.
Yeah,
It was
thank
certainly
you for
interesting to
jumping
watch.
in for that.
That was good fun. That was good fun. So yeah, look, the PC-21's my number one. But flying in DCS and having the availability to fly anything you want. Look, I love jumping in the A10 and I love jumping in the rotorcraft as well. So big fan of the Apache and the Kiowa in DCS. Sort of circling back on the Air Force thing with my family and that sort of thing. I did apply to become a chopper pilot with the Air Force in the 90s, but as you can see by these big goggles on my face, didn't turn out so good. So apparently need to be able to wear night vision goggles over, monocles over one eye and that sort of thing. And they sort of said, you're not going to be a pilot today. So, would you like to become a mechanic or a gunner or something like that? I was like, oh, no, I think I'll just stick with civvy life for now, which I highly regret.
Aw.
No, but the civilian pilot life is not so bad. But
I was almost going to say it's much less exciting, but it's kind of not, isn't it?
It is much less exciting in terms of the cool stuff that you're able to do in the Air Force.
True.
And once you fly the same route over and over again, you kind of do it blindfolded.
Yeah, I hear. Yeah, but there's still much cooler things to see other than targeting
100%.
reticles and MFDs and things like that. You get to actually look out the window
100%.
occasionally.
Yeah.
There you go. I have a question for you, Beardy. So,
Shoot.
as someone who is a incredibly nervous flyer,
Yes.
what is your top tip for someone who is nervous on a flight?
Ooh, top tip. Top tip, give it a go. Don't be afraid. Don't be nervous. Nothing's going to blow up. Computer's not going to catch fire. You're not going to get a funny charge on your credit card. Just give it a go. Turn off collisions. And anything with aircraft, it's like driving a car. Like the more you do it, the easier it gets, the better it gets. The more your brain sort of understands the physics involved. And before you know it, you'll be barrel rolling all over the place.
There you go.
Yeah. But on top of that, learning from other people. I mean, I've been in simming since I was 15 years old, and that's close to 40 years now. And I've learnt everything I've ever learnt in simming from other people who have just learnt their piece of information from someone else and handed it down the line and that sort of thing. So simming with others is huge. You can learn a lot, you can enjoy more, you can share more. So the flying with friends is always a good thing.
I think it also applies just generally to the entire aviation industry. You never stop learning.
100%.
Because if you do take that mindset that I know everything, I've learned everything, you'll find yourself in trouble pretty quick. You always have to be on your toes.
100%.
Even if you've flown this aircraft for thousands of hours.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather can change. The conditions can change. There's always the good old failures that can happen as well. They're fun to navigate through.
Yeah. And not everything is a Airbus A320 or a 737. So redundancy
absolutely
does not always come into play when you need it.
Absolutely. Especially if you were trying to do a barrel roll in a Cessna.
Yes.
I'll let you live that down eventually.
Yeah, that exactly. Or for or some like taking off with your pedo cover.
Oof. Yeah. Which I assume we're going to be able to do in Musfuss 2024 now. It has that level of ability. So this is going to get very interesting.
Yeah, lucky. We should have you in here more often.
Invite me any day. I'm there.
Yeah.
You guys have got all the
Yeah,
toys
there
to
we
play
go.
with there.
Yeah.
There we go.
All
There
right.
we go,
Book
yeah.
it.
You guys
Booking
have
a
got the
day
good
next
toys.
week. Let's go. Clearing my schedule.
Yeah, but this is actually the setup I mentioned to you.
Yes.
That I'm.
Yeah, it was still in construction when I was there last.
Yeah, so now it's up, but we need to connect it to a PC.
Looking fantastic from here.
Oh, I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It looks
You're very familiar with it yourself.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So just trying to figure out whether I'm gonna stick with the Moser force feedback.
Yep.
Or just go back to the Ava.
Oh, that's a flex and a half, mate.
I know. It's a nice predicament to be in.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Circling back on that discussion about flying with friends, there are just some great groups you can join to learn from people like that. There's some great airline groups online. There's some great military style groups like RAFE and things like that are just keen for members to join in, and you can talk to people who have gone through a training program in the airframe that they fly and play in and that sort of thing. So you've always got people to learn from there.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I was only going to say we have there's a similar thing that I've joined at the moment because I'm learning how to ride a motorbike, which I like to just slide into every episode of the podcast that I record. But I'm learning how to ride a motorbike.
Nice, she knows.
Have you heard about my motorbike? No.
Very nice. What are you riding?
But thank you for asking. Oh my gosh, I'm riding a Vulcan S650.
Oh, nice. Cruising. Very nice.
So yeah, no, one of those things is that we actually have like Facebook groups of people who live in pockets and areas around like Greater Brisbane and Gold Coast and
Absolutely.
stuff. And there are people who are like ex-police, ex-military, even ex-fireys and ex-ambos who have obviously seen the worst of what can happen in like accidents and stuff.
Oh, yes.
With people on motorbikes, and they ride motorbikes themselves, and so they have like either for free or like some people might charge like sort of like $20 or $50 for a couple of hours to sort of just go with them and do a learner's ride, because you have to ride with someone who already has their license when you're on your learners.
Yes.
And they will actually help and coach you and stuff and sort of build up your confidence, which is actually something that I've been looking into myself. So as you're talking about like fly with friends, I feel like that would definitely help me as a nervous flyer to sort of break that ice and to feel a bit more confident.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, part of the virtual roulettes, we're working on becoming a VSOA, which is a virtual special operations group in VATSIM.
He beat me to it.
Beat you to it. Yeah. So in terms of that sort of thing, we've got to come up with basically a curriculum of learning for people to come from I've never flown anything before to I'm ready to apply to be a virtual roulette now. So this it will be full training material. You will have QFIs, or virtual QFIs, I should say, online that can help you through all that sort of thing. And there are pathways out there.
Well, if you need a tester, I happen to be available and know nothing about airplanes.
Absolutely. Love to have a lady on the books, trust me.
Oh, hell yeah. Consider it done.
Nice.
How is the VSO application going?
It's been relatively easy. Most of us in the virtual roulettes have come from RAFE. I did a lot of training through RAFE. They have awesome QFIs, great bunch of guys that are really keen on doing that sort of role play with the Air Force and that sort of stuff. So learnt a lot through those guys. But we've got a couple of guys who are proper pilots in the virtual roulettes and have quite a lot of QFI experience over the years. So we're kind of lucky to have some guys that already know their stuff very, very well, and they're just super keen to get people into the airframes and having some fun with us.
I'm keen.
Yeah, sign Batter and I up. We're keen for anything. It sounds awesome.
As soon as it goes live, I'll let you guys know.
Amazing. Now speaking. Sorry.
No, I was going to say I still want to take you up on the familiarity flight.
Familiarization flight, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I nearly choked on that as well then. Yes, absolutely.
Say it 10 times really quickly.
Thank you for the rescue there.
Yes. Well, as soon as MustFuss 2024 actually loads in, hint, it'll be good to see
We've actually managed to get in.
PC21. Oh, you have managed to get in?
That's
How
it.
did you
Yeah,
pay for that?
You just keep on restarting it. I rebooted probably like 15 times.
Yeah, right. Well,
15 times and
you're
suddenly
a far more
it
patient
just
man
went
than
in.
I am, mate. Far more patient
And
man
it's
than I
kind of
am.
my job.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. So fair.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my next question then is, who are the virtual roulettes? Tell us a bit more about your team.
Who are the virtual roulettes? So we're a 6-man virtual aerobatic team. The team is spread all over Australia. We've got a few members from Victoria, a couple of members up here in Queensland, and a member over in Western Australia. We're primarily a DCS-based aerobatic group, only because MustFuss 2020 has let us down on the netcode front in terms of sort of the close formation flying and stuff like that. We've really struggled to transfer the skills we've learned in DCS over to MustFuss for that. So we've got a lot of hopes resting on MustFuss 2024. But we've been a group since 2020, so we've been around quite a while now. And our sort of mission, I guess, is we try to emulate the real roulettes. Those guys are super professional, super precision flyers, so that's what we aim for.
That's awesome. And you guys create content as well, is that correct?
So I hear. So I hear.
Yeah.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that
you've
can get
seen-
people
you've seen-
interested in aviation and flying and that sort of thing, we're happy to tickle anybody's taste buds there.
For the viewers, I mean, if you're keen to find out what Beardy and the squad are up to, you can always check out our Instagram profiles. We have shared a couple of the virtual roulettes promos and highlight reels, and they look pretty cool. Very
Yes,
Very
they
cool,
look
very
cooler
cool.
than they are flying. It's very nervous flying,
cool.
especially when it's a show.
course.
It's nerve wracking, that's for sure.
No, I'm sure you guys make it look easier.
You know
than
what?
it actually is.
We train 3 nights a week for a couple of hours each night, and the flights generally go for about an hour. So we'll do a workup, we'll do a warm up, like a workup warm up. So we'll do a half a dozen maneuvers just to get everything flowing and get all the neural stuff going again. And then we'll do our full high show, which goes for about 25 minutes. And just that having that concentration at 100% for 25 minutes flat out is exhausting.
It's hard, Yako.
Yeah. I
Really
bet.
is exhausting. And then we generally obviously land the aircraft and we'll do a debrief. So we'll watch the replay, do comments in turn, give each other advice, critique, that sort of thing. Go, oh, you're a little bit out there, or you pulled a little early there, that sort of thing. And we really sort of go through and try to be better every time we fly, because we've got some shows coming up. The one in December, which is the Virtual International Air Festival, is a live streamed flight, which is going to be our first live show, which is very, very nerve wracking.
Wow. Exciting.
Yes, so it's being streamed live from an aero museum in Switzerland.
Yes, we are supporting that festival.
Awesome.
We are sending a couple of cockpits to the organizers.
Very cool.
So yeah, there's a bit of back and forth now going on.
No doubt,
Yeah,
no doubt.
We're really excited for that.
You know what? They're an amazing bunch of people. They've been, in terms of like just the demo team community, have been just the nicest bunch of people. So accommodating, obviously, because we're on the other side of the planet. They go out of their way to make sure that we get the time that we can get for everybody to be online and that sort of thing. And super encouraging, always dropping into the Discord and saying hi, how you going, giving us lots of advice and helping us out. They've been just the coolest bunch of guys. They really have.
They're very easy to work with.
Yeah.
One of the easiest partners we've got, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's people like that make it a lot easier, if you know what I mean. It makes it a pleasure to do it.
It's encouraging to see.
Yeah,
it's encouraging
100%.
to see, 100%. Peter, if you don't mind me, just to give people context, when you say 25 minutes of precision flying can get really hard work, I mean, how do you compare that with the workflow when it comes to your, when your scans, when you're flying VFR or IFR?
Well, being in formation, and most of the show we are in a 6-man formation, or various formations. I guess we sort of transition between a few formations and that sort of thing. We rely on our flight lead. Most of us guys are pinned to our position, and we have sort of a sight picture that we try to maintain as best we can, which keeps us in the right position. I mean, safety always comes first. So if someone gets a little out of position, gets a little too close, you break out. You reset and you go again, that sort of thing, which is going to be very interesting. That happens during a live show. But we do practice for that as well. If someone's VR headset shuts down or their internet drops out for a moment or anything like that, the show must go on, sort of thing. So we do practice breaking out, rejoining, reset, go again, and that sort of thing. But in terms of like all the procedures and stuff like that, we try to simulate it as close as we can to the real world thing. So we do all our CTAF calls when we're moving around an airstrip. I mean, we generally don't have much traffic going on because it's our server room. We can have as much traffic or as little traffic as we like. So we try to concentrate on doing fancy stuff rather than avoiding Airbuses and things like that, or leaving pedo covers on. So yeah, most of the guys that are in formation know what we're doing. We've been doing it for a couple of years now, 3 nights a week again. So it comes with a lot of muscle memory. Which then doing the VSI stuff that moves over to VATSIM, which is the virtual ATC, which is a bit more of a realism thing in terms of MUSFUS and the other sims that support it and that sort of thing. We look to emulate what the roulettes do in the real world in terms of transiting. So once we've got the VSO up and going, and we're all sort of trained up, or refreshed up on our radio calls, etc. We're going to be doing pretty much what the real world roulettes do. So when they go to Bathurst for a show, we'll do the same. We'll fly to Bathurst as a full formation team. Maybe throw in a sneaky show in MUSFUS just to get warmed up, but we'll also do the shows in DCS because that's where our strengths are at the moment.
Yep. And that when you're in formation, is it correct to assume that basically you no longer rely on your instruments or your outside vision, and basically your wingman's airframe becomes your attitude indicator?
100%. Yeah, 100%. So again, we all rely on flight lead. So my position in the group is I'm the outer wing on the left-hand side. So in terms of our general transit formation is a wedge formation. So you'll have flight lead in the front. You'll have 2 aircraft just diagonally off each of his wings, and then we'll be on the outside. So between flight lead and me, there's Sneaky, who's Roulette 3, virtual Roulette 3. So I've got to look through him to see flight lead. And so if he gets in the way, I have to fly off him. Or reposition myself. We move up or down a little bit. But we're trying to keep that sight picture going. So it's a lot of peripheral sort of situational awareness, if that makes sense. I don't really focus on any particular airframe or instrument. You just sort of stare in the general direction of where the things you're referencing are, and you just rely on your peripheral to gauge how far away you are from each, where they're moving, and things like that.
Oh, awesome.
That sounds kind of scary, not being able to, not using the instruments and stuff like that, and just sort of gauging based on peripheral vision of all things as well is a bit hit and miss. I won't lie, every time I go to the optometrist and they have to test it, I'm always like, oh, is it a little
You're
worse
telling
this
me.
year?
You're telling me.
I honestly find the hardest thing to train is situational awareness.
100%.
You either have SA or you don't.
100%.
It's like people who still use the GPS for short drives. Unfortunately, these types of people lack SA. So when you put them in an aircraft, the compass can only do so much.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And
I'm
when the weather changes or the situation changes, you've got to be able to adapt and understand what's going on around you so you don't cause an incident.
100%.
No, I'm guilty of losing the GPS. But in my defense, I use it for traffic, not for I don't use it to actually guide me to and from work every day because I've been
No,
doing
no,
this journey for
I'm
nearly
talking
6
about
months.
people who actually guide you.
Yeah, okay, no.
I'd
For
put
me, it's just to make
$5
sure
that
that there's
Batter's
no
probably got a
traffic there.
G1000 in his dashboard of his car. Bet.
No, I wish that'd be a look.
That would be
But
very
no,
interesting.
I try not to follow the magenta line in my car. But
Lot less turns where you drive, mate. Lots
yeah,
of straight lines.
yeah, just square circuits, mate.
Indeed, indeed.
So tell us, what has been your greatest challenge in terms of content creation?
Oh, greatest challenge. Consistency, if I'm being really honest. It's very hard to be consistent. Again, because we're concentrating so much while we're flying, to then also concentrate on chat or on providing good content at the time of while we're flying. So that live content stuff has always been a real challenge for us. And being consistent in that because of the level of concentration and focus that it sort of does take to get through a training session. Obviously, we can look at the replays and we can create some great videos and stuff out of that. So that the second challenge for that is time. Yeah, like to produce stuff that we're sort of proud of. It does take that time to polish the videos up and get the right angles and get the right feel and music and all that sort of stuff.
And the type of flying these guys do is very. I don't mean to interrupt there, but like
No, you're right.
they're very accurate, very perfect when they're flying. So if you take that mindset to content, they have to be really, really happy
Yep.
for it to get out.
Perfectionists.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well,
100%.
we are trying to emulate the real guys, so and they are
course.
the creme de la creme of
And
aerobatic
that's
pilots.
just the
So
nature of the activity.
100%, yeah, 100%. And on top of that, we're not young guys. A lot of us have families and partners and things like that. And even just training 3 nights a week for a couple of hours, that's quite a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
So trying to find again time on top of that to create content is struggle. Yeah, it can be a bit of a struggle. And creating good quality content again, you can stretch that timeline out even a little bit further to polish things up a little bit better. So it's a labor of love, that's for sure.
Tell us a bit more about your community, the people who follow you and the people who watch all the cool stuff you do.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're babies in terms of content and building that community and that sort of thing. I mean, we've got a bunch of guys that have been following us since day one, who turn up to all of our shows that we do and turn up to our training sessions when we broadcast them live and that sort of thing, and they are just awesome. But we're still building a community, you know. We've only done a few big shows, so we've done the virtual Summer Air Festival. Unfortunately, we didn't make the virtual International Air Festival last year due to losing one of our pilots just before the show, which we've made contingencies for this year, thank God. So yeah, we're still sort of building a larger or wider community. We're hoping that the VSOA will sort of generate a little bit more interest there and get people engaging with us and us engaging with them, especially in MUSFUS 2024 with our transits and community fly-ins, and hopefully better we can line up some cool events for people to join in and fly along with us as well.
Oh, 100%. So the intention is to basically join you guys.
Absolutely.
And then with your permission, of course, stream that via our channels.
Absolutely.
And hopefully that can, gather some great excitement to what you guys are doing.
Oh, the more the merrier. Yeah,
put you in the spotlight. Yeah.
That's what
I'll be there
community's all
watching. I
about.
can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see
Absolutely.
Batter do a barrel roll and just nosedive into the ground.
No, I think he's learnt that lesson by now.
Yeah, 100%.
It's my favorite thing to watch.
Absolutely. But the great crossover, and I'm sure Batter would be able to relate.
No, but I haven't done a barrel roll and ended up in the ground.
Not yet.
If I keep doing it in a Cessna. Yeah.
Hey, at least it's cheap in the Sims, right? A lot cheaper, a lot less drama, a lot less people knocking on the door.
100%.
So you've talked about a few different games or simulators that you use to perform this in. Which one is your go-to, your favorite, and why?
Look, me personally, I love DCS. I love things that go bang. So I have both a helicopter collective setup and a fixed wing setup with my sim rig. So I just love getting in there and flying around the Apache, blowing things up. And obviously, a lot of our trainings with the virtual roulettes is done in DCS, so that's my mainstay. But
I mean,
I can see us moving over to Musfuss a lot more with the VSOA work and things like that, and trying to engage more people to join in and join us through the VSOA journey as well. Get some training in and becoming part of the group.
and now with your collective setup, I mean, there are some pretty cool missions in Musfuss 2024.
There are indeed.
Search and rescue, oil rigs, cargo.
As soon as I can log into it, I will tell you how good it is.
Yep.
Fair enough.
There's always day one bugs. You can only expect that.
Oh, 100%. Especially when it's
Yeah.
based on a cloud infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, probably our first show we did with the virtual roulettes was in Musfuss. So, Asobo themselves invited us in to put on an air show for Australia Day last year.
That's pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
That
No pressure at all there. There was literally our first show, and had I think it was 8,000 or 9,000 viewers watching live, and but it was it was so much fun, and great fun to give away some PC21 modules for Musfuss and get people in on it as well.
And this is the same one you've provided us, Kai?
Absolutely.
One developed by Iris?
Yes, the Iris PC21, which is about the highest fidelity single-seater trainer I know of. So it's got the full flight management systems, all the working MFDs. You can do a full flight plan, plug in and go. Has full ILS, the works.
It's an impressive piece of kit.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
100%. Yeah.
Wow.
And thanks again.
Welcome. Very welcome.
Yeah.
Got to have people flying more with us, so got to get you started somewhere. Can't you have you revving the guts out of a Cessna trying to keep up?
I'll be struggling.
Nah, you'll be fine.
All right. Well, I think it's the moment we've all been waiting for. Beardy, can you show us your rig?
Ooh, can I what?
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Beardy. Where can everyone find you?
Thanks for having me. We have our new website, which is virtualroulettes.au, and we have all of our socials on there and all of our information about how to join us for flights, and that'll all be in there very soon.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time, mate.
And thanks to you for your support, guys. We'd be lost without your amazing sim rigs.
It's
for sure.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and I can't wait to join you guys online.
Always welcome, you know that.
Show me what you know with the PC21.
Absolutely.
If you've been inspired to begin your flight sim journey, or if you're itching to upgrade your current setup, be sure to check out Next Level Racing.